Greetings, everyone. Welcome to our brand new podcast episode. This is Manchesteros Podcast, a weekly podcast series by Manchesteros.com, and you're listening podcast episode number 13. Now, guys, as you can hear, I am having some cold issues and my voice are not working properly. So please spare my sound and enjoy this podcast. The interesting part was today is the Friday the 13th and we are on our 13th episode. So in this episode, we will be discussing about the two important games we have played last week. After that, some transfer news, followed by some club updates and a discussion about who will gonna win the league. After that, our next Premier League fixture against our bitter rival Liverpool. So let's not wait anymore. It's time to discuss Manchester United 4, Reading 0. Now, first of all, it was the FA Cup third round game at Old Trafford, and from my point of view, it was a beautiful game with a mammoth scoreline, where goals from Wayne Rooney, Martial, and Rashford sealed a pretty convincing win for us. So yeah, as a fan, I am pretty happy, and so does Wayne Rooney because he has now equaled Sir Bobby Charlton's goal scoring record as the Red Devils booked their place in the FA Cup fourth round. The captain moved alongside a fellow United legend in the club's all-time scoring charts with his 249th goal, and Anthony Martial doubled the lead with a calm finish as the Reds went 2-0 ahead in the first 15 minutes. And after that, Marcus Rashford stroked home and capitalized on an error by Ali Al-Habsi to add a late double, which reflected United's superiority in a dominant display. And this victory extended the Reds' winning run to 8 matches in all competition, and the fact that we are currently in a nice run under Moreno in all competition. So yeah, we destroyed Reading and Jaap Stam, who is the former Red Devil and the current Reading boss. So just when the game is needed to tighten up, Rashford obliged with a calm and composed finish when he was played through the middle by Carrick to add a fairer picture to the scoreline, which began to reflect our dominance in the game. And moment after, when Bastian Schweinsteiger and Timothy Fosu-Mensah were introduced, the boy Rashford helped himself to add another goal for him and his club to round off the win following a comical moment when Al-Habsi miskicked Moore's back pass. So it was a great game, and our next FA Cup opponents were confirmed on Monday evening when the draw was revealed, and it was Wigan Athletic who will be our next round opponent in the FA Cup. So speaking as a defending champion, I think we'll go for the final again this term. Now moving on to the next game, where Manchester United have secured a 2-0 win over Hull City in the EFL Cup semi-final. It was again a beautiful performance, and Manchester United took a step closer to reaching the EFL Cup final as goal from Juan Mata and Marouane Fellaini earned the Reds a 2-0 victory over Hull City, and it was the first leg in the semi-final. So the Reds had to be patient against the resilient Tigers, but after a frustrating first half at Old Trafford, the impressive Juan Mata scored a beautiful goal by poking home from a close range in the 50th minute. And after Paul Pogba had earlier struck with the post, and his free kick was awesome, and substitute Marouane Fellaini put a further daylight between the two sides with a header late on. With the comfort of a 2-goal advantage heading into the second leg, I think we will be confident of progressing when we visit the KCOM Stadium to face either Southampton or Liverpool next month in Wembley. So, in this game, although dominating possession, United could not find a decisive moment in the first half, and later Martial almost added a third strike late on when his powerful effort was beaten away by Jakubowicz. But United had still taken a big stride toward a first leg of cup final appearance since winning the competition on the fourth time in 2010. Meanwhile, a 9 successive win in long competition, the informed Reds are up nicely for the eagerly awaited Premier League clash with Liverpool at the Theatre of Dreams on Sunday afternoon. So these are the two games, and now it's time for some transfer news. Here, we have to start with Morgan Schneiderlin, who has completed his transfer from Manchester United to Everton. The French midfielder has joined the Toffees on a 4.5 year deal, keeping him at the Merseyside club until the end of 2021. And he was expected to be in their squad to face Man City in the Premier League on Sunday. So United boss Jose Mourinho spoke his sadness for letting Schneiderlin go. And during his post-match conference, he acknowledged the 27 years old desire to get regular first team football after opportunities become limited with the Reds. The France international move to Everton means he will be reunited with the Toffees boss Ronald Koeman, his former manager at Southampton. So Mo said that he is sad and he is happy. He is sad because he liked him and Jose thought he could be an option for us in a long season. But Mourinho is happy because this is what Schneiderlin wanted. And he wanted to play in every game and he wanted to be an important player for the team. So everyone at Manchester United would like to wish Morgan Schneiderlin all the best in the future. And on the other hand, it is confirmed that Manchester United has extended Fellaini's contract, and they have confirmed a clause have been triggered to his contract to extend his stay with the club. When signing from Everton on the final day of the summer transfer window in 2013, the Belgian agreed a 4.5 year deal with the option for further year, but this has been taken up, tying him to the Old Trafford until at least the summer of 2018. There are some other rumors that Manchester United have joined the race to sign 50 million rated Juventus striker Paulo Diabla, and rumors like where we have rejected a bid for Memphis Depay to French side Nice. So now I think it is the right time to talk about the situation in the Premier League table and who will emerge victorious in this season. So the fact is Chelsea are top after 20 games, but Liverpool, Arsenal and Spurs and both the Manchester clubs are all in the hunt for the title. And with 20 games gone in the season, Chelsea lead the Premier League by 5 points despite falling against fellow hopeful Tottenham. But with 18 games left to play, the ultimate question was that which team will win the title in this season. So now that we are discussing the most important thing of our life, which is who will become the Premier League champion, I would like to invite an important guest here who is an avid football fan and a lifelong Arsenal fan. Now let's hear his thought about the current Premier League table and the title race prediction. So man, welcome to Manchesteros Podcast, and now tell us about how your views are on the Premier League situation and how the Man United campaign is going on this season. So brother, enlighten us with your views.
So if you ask me how Manchester United is doing under Jose Mourinho this year, I would like to say that judging by the point table, it would not be very wise to judge them because they are currently sitting at the 6th of the point table in Premier League, and where Chelsea is leading with 49 points. They're 10 points behind the leader. But I think with the mid teams in between 1 and 6, those teams are not very far away from Manchester United. Just for the sake, I'm referring to Liverpool, who are currently sitting at the 2nd of the point table with 45 points, and they're just like 6 points away from Manchester United. So that's not a huge gap in terms of points. It's just a matter of 2-3 matches the point tables can turn. Just like Arsenal was in a very good position 2 weeks ago, and they had like 2 losses and the point table totally turned its face. It's like totally upside down. It's happening too fast. The point league table position is changing so fast this term. It's quite different from last terms, I must say. 2015-16 Premier League was a bit low scoring in terms of point. Leicester just could take away the league under the nose of every other top 4 league contender with only 81 points, where the second position holder Arsenal was getting only 71 points. It's like 10-point difference, and with only 81 points they could get away with the title. So this term, this is definitely not going to happen. It would be a high scoring Premier League in terms of the points. And as we saw that last term, at the half of the Premier League race, Arsenal was on top of the league, but they lost the lead to Leicester at the second half. So we are not very conclusive that Chelsea would win the league because they have a good lead on the other teams. Rather, they lost to Tottenham miserably with a 2-0 scoreline. They lost to Arsenal. So it might happen that their tactics might fall under fire against other lower league opponents as well when the time comes. At the end of the Premier League, the teams from the bottom half of the point table, they fight for their survival. So in that survival race, they take point from almost anybody and everybody that comes to their way. So basically, in my opinion, I cannot say that I can predict the Premier League contender this term before it's February or March, because it's last going to happen down the way. It's hard to predict. It's quite open Premier League race this term. So even though Man U is sitting currently 6th on this Premier League table, we cannot just rule them out from the title race just yet. But as always, a steady defense in the second half of the Premier League would be a determining factor for winning the title this term, where scoring one goal, one team just can shut off their attacking energy and preserve for next matches, and they can jointly, in a team fashion, they can defend the match and get away with a slim margin like 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-2. They can just get away with a slim margin. So defense is always going to be a big factor to win the title.
Well, that, my friend, was simply awesome. Thanks for sharing your views. And let me just say, it is nice having you here. So moving on, it's time to discuss our next Premier League fixture, which is against Liverpool. And is this the perfect time for this fixture? Absolutely yes. Great excitement surrounds Manchester United ahead of one of the biggest games of the season, with 9 wins in a row and 15 games unbeaten. The form of Jose Mourinho's men could not be better for the clash with the club's bitter rivals. Sunday's 6-pointer at Old Trafford represents a golden chance for United to strike a significant blow in the race of the top 4 spot and gain the psychological boost for the business end of the season. A victory could reduce the gap on the second place Liverpool to 3 points, after Jurgen Klopp's side twice failed to keep the lead at struggling Sunderland and drew 2-2 in the last set of Premier League games. For Captain Waza, the history could make happen. After netting his 249th goal for United, Wayne Rooney could make the game even more special by breaking Sir Bobby Charlton's all-time goal-scoring record, and what a game it would be for doing it. So, in the previous meetings, United have triumphed in 15 of the 24 Premier League clashes against Liverpool at Old Trafford, including last season's 3-1 victory with goals from Daley Blind, Ander Herrera and the debutant Anthony Martial. This is the second meeting of the season with Jurgen Klopp's side, and the two teams have clashed a 1-1 draw in 17 October this season. Curiously, United and Liverpool have faced each other almost exactly 1 year ago on 17th January 2016 at Anfield, and on that occasion, Rooney has secured a 1-0 success for his side with the late winner. And can this keeper strike again on the Sunday to write history? I think he can. But that was then and this is now. Times have changed and the Reds are almost a different team, with the players more accustomed to the manager's method and demands. It's fair to assume that we will witness a different approach this time around and focused on our own strength and abilities, rather than silencing a hostile environment. This is Old Trafford, this is Manchester, and this is United. The stage is set for the classic match, and Jose Mourinho have a message to his fans. Speaking after Tuesday win over Hull City, he said that Sunday is a special match for us and a special match for Manchester United fans. So my invitation is, don't come to the theatre, come to the play and come to play with us. And now let's discuss some club updates for that Liverpool game. So the injury news was that Moino might not be able to repeat his boost for a week ago in reporting of a zero injuries among his side, but the situation is still going to relatively rosy in the Carrington treatment room. Marcos Rojo could still be unavailable after suffering a muscle injury in the 4-0 FA Cup third round win against Reading on Saturday, with Moreno admitting that while the knock was not a serious one, but it remains one which cannot be entirely second guessed. So if the Argentine cannot complete at least one training season, he will not be involved. Higher up, Zlatan Ibrahimovic should be fine and return after missing the Tuesday's victory over Hull City due to his illness, assuming that he recovers from cold quicker than Her Majesty the Queen, and the Swede is certainly to start as the figurehead striker in Moreno's lineup. Eric Bailly is the only unavailable player due to his involvement in Cote d'Ivoire African Cup of Nations campaign. So all I think is Moreno is set to revert his preferred setup after mixing and matching in the cup wins against Reading and Hull City. He might never have found the settled first 11 since arriving at Old Trafford in the summer, but he can at least rely on the core 15 and 16 player which to choose his favorite 11. With Ibrahimovic set to return, and Anthony Martial and Henrik Mkhitaryan could well find themselves being asked to use as the pacey and trickery up in against to Liverpool, and with an extra protection of both Andor Herrera and Michael Carrick likely to be required at the heart of midfield. Paul Pogba could well as used just behind Ibrahimovic once more. And at the back, Phil Jones, Chris Smalling should start as a result of Rojo's recent enforced layoff, but Antonio Valencia will continue at right back. And with the left back spot, I think Daley Blind or Matteo Darmian or even Luke Shaw would be nice. So in my predictive lineup, the formation will be a 4-5-1 formation, and the goalkeeper will be David De Gea, and the defensive line was to be built with Blind, Jones, Smalling and Valencia. Carrick and Herrera would be the defensive midfield, and Martial, Pogba and Mkhitaryan will lead the attacking line, and ahead of them Zlatan Ibrahimovic will be the scorer. So this is it, guys. Thank you for listening our podcast. Please do leave your comments and feedbacks in our comment section, and please visit our site Manchesteros.com, where we publish all the latest thing that has been going on in the realm of Manchester United Football Club. Till then, please like, comment and share our podcasts, and check our page Manchesteros on Facebook. So this is it, guys. See you in next week with a new podcast episode with lots of interesting stories. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.